As I make this video, Donald Trump is in Milwaukee getting ready to make a law and order speech on the riots we saw in Milwaukee a couple of days ago. It's really tempting to say, well, these riots are kind of political riots because everybody's pissed off at police brutality. All we got to do is get some nice cops, be nice to black people, and everything will be a-okay. That's magical thinking. The real problem is this country has a problem with black mob violence of the kind we see in Milwaukee, Ferguson, Baltimore, but lots and lots of other kinds too. The kind that makes the black crime rate so wildly out of proportion. You're looking at some video from Chicotagua. Some of the fellas decided they would go in and rob the kiosk, the iPhone kiosk, of $30,000 worth of phones. We'll see that video in a minute. But this kind of organized robbery, organized crime, organized violence. There's so much of it going on all over the country, whether we're talking about a mall, whether we're talking about a let-out fight in a bar. It's what we document here so often, but we also document the denial, deceit, and delusion from reporters and public officials who want to ignore, deny, condone, excuse, encourage, and even lie about it. So, okay, yeah, let's have Trump get up there and say basically some version of what Republicans have been saying every 4 years for 50 years. Yeah, we're going to give you some jobs, so we're going to knock the crime out because the only reason we have crime is because nobody has jobs. Everybody knows that. At some point, somebody's going to scratch their head and go, oh, we've kind of been trying that for 50 years, but it doesn't seem to be working. Maybe it's something else. Why don't we start down in the Baton Rouge area? What's the number down there now? How many people have been forced out of their homes? How many tens of thousands of people have been forced out of their homes because of the historic flooding there? The number of black people who have been caught for looting is now at 14. You know, if anybody's written this book, I would love to read it. I don't think anybody has written this book. But after Katrina, there of course was a diaspora from New Orleans that went to Baton Rouge, Houston, and lots of other places in between. Lots and lots of black people left New Orleans and they took a criminal lifestyle with them. Kind of reminded me of the Marielito boat lift back in the 70s when Carter said he wanted to accept all these Cuban refugees and Castro said fine. So he opened up his prisons. And we got the worst of the worst from Castro's prisons. I think there were like 3,000 of them, and took a couple years before we had to let them run around in this country and commit a bunch of crime, and we rounded them all up and put them in prison again. So let's see what happens with the looting down in Baton Rouge, and let's test the theory that white people do it too.
At 5, $30,000 worth of Apple iPhones were stolen from the Walden Galleria. And now Cheektowaga police are asking for the public's help to track down the suspects. News 4's Angela Christoforos has details and the surveillance footage. Angela?
Jackie, the burglary took place during mall after hours, and Cheektowaga police are working to figure out who these suspects are and where they went with all those iPhones. This is surveillance video from inside the mall. Cheektowaga police say these suspects entered a cell phone kiosk, and that's where they stole about $30,000 worth of Apple iPhones. Here are some close-up still photos of the suspects. They're described as black males between 20 to 30 years old. 3 of the males also have longer braided hair. The Cheektowaga Police Department posted the surveillance video and these pictures to Facebook today.
The Fox 8 I-team rolling. Police swarm 4 homes, hauling in suspects, gathering evidence, breaking up what they call a ring of thieves to blame for smash and grabs, ripping out ATMs from local businesses, a chronic problem in the city and the suburbs. We took the news of the roundup to Danzy's Market, a victim of a smash and grab.
Are you surprised that they were able to make an arrest like that?
Yes, because so many people were getting away with it.
Some suspects locked up before the roundup, others wanted on the streets. An indictment filed with 74 charges against 11 suspects. We noticed this outside a home on Pratt in Cleveland. A woman with a baby sitting with some people detained in handcuffs. Later, we went back. That young mother complained about damage after the police raid, said she couldn't add more.
But why'd they come here?
That's what we want to know.
That's not the only place they went.
Exactly. You got the same questions.
They went down the
We
way.
don't even got the answer.
Here at the Justice Center, the I-Team reviewed the charges. These suspects tied to crimes way back to 2011. Crimes in Cuyahoga, Summit, Stark, Lake, and Lorain counties.
Like I said, this is a culmination of a joint investigation between Parma, Cleveland, Strongsville, Highway Patrol, and multiple other law enforcement agencies.
Parma police say their detectives started seeing connections in cases after this smash and grab in April. So many smash and grabs anymore, this may not stop the crime, but guys like William Danzy happy to see what he considers some justice.
We're here for the community.
Look at that nice, yummy bird seed I got all spread out there, all ready to eat here. And wow, look at that. Gee, I could play a game with these the way I've got it. Why not? One of these things is not like the others. Which one is different? Do you know? Can you tell which thing is not like the others? I'll tell you if it is so. Well, I'll bet you guessed.
Well, I guess white people do it too. Maybe this dude with the TTG tattooed into his neck can be hired as a Republican consultant to give consultants some mojo when they start looking for black votes this fall. They're going to need some more black whisperers. Maybe this dude can come up with a slightly better idea than let's not make the black kids angry.